And hello there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rusty and this is me horror and music channel, metal of course, and horror movies are my favorite genre, so that's mostly what you see here. And yummy yummy yummy. We are about to begin our journey and celebration into November, where the new Resident Evil movie is going to be released. So, this is one of my favorite franchises of all time. Boy, it was part of my childhood or teenage years, and I tell you, I absolutely love Resident Evil. I know people have problems with some of the six Milla, you know, installments, but I don't really. Of course, I'm not saying that I like every single one of them exactly equally, and you have to rank them. There is a bottom and there is a top. There is no choice if there's more than one. However, I do love every one of them. I enjoy every one of them. I like watching every one of them, and not one of them do I have any kind of serious problem with, like, oh god, that was terrible. Like, some people do have a couple in this franchise they don't like, but I do not. I really don't. As one long six movie, like one epic journey, I absolutely love it. I think it ended exactly when it was supposed to. I love epics. I definitely do not suffer from Twitter syndrome. I like long, drawn out stories, and that's what this is to me. So, we will be going through the entire collection as we celebrate and wait for and hope for and can't wait to see the new Resident Evil, which releases in November. So, we're going to start off tonight with, of course, where it all began, and that is Resident Evil from 2002. Yes, 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 yes. Get 'em, Alice. Get 'em. Teach 'em a lesson. You too, Rain. These girls will kick your ass. So, Resident Evil was released in 2002. It was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, whom didn't he later marry Milla? Yeah. And it stars Milla Jovovich, Michelle Rodriguez, Ryan McCluskey, James Purefoy as Spence. And if you don't know who Spence is, one of my favorite cable series that ever came out was Rome. HBO did 2 seasons of a show called Rome, just Rome, Rome. If you've never seen that, you really need to see that. And if you want to see all of James Purefoy, who plays Spence in this movie, see Rome, because you'll know every single inch, no pun intended, of James Purefoy if you watch Rome. He plays Mark Antony in Rome, and God, I love that show so much. And Eric Mabius plays Matt in this movie. So, of course, the great Michelle Rodriguez. I mean, come on. They are just... She is the queen of resting bitch face, And it's not even resting bitch face with Rain, with Michelle Rodriguez, and almost everything she plays. I know that a lot of people know her from Fast and Furious, but I like the very first Fast and Furious movie, and I really can't stand any of the others. It's just not a franchise for me. I don't really like it. I like Tom Cruise, but I couldn't stand Days of Thunder. I mean, I'm just not a race car movie. I think I've got Tokyo Drift and the first one, and the first Fast and Furious. No, just not my thing. When it comes to automobiles, give me Death Race. Death Race is my automobile movie, not Fast and Furious. But, so yeah. The cast in this movie is just eye candy from hell. if you're a straight guy or a lesbian, you've got Milla and Michelle, and if you are a gay guy or a straight woman, oh my God, the eye candy in this movie. You've got Spence, and you've got Matt, and you've got what is it, JD, and just all of them. And this is a fine team. I don't think I would get any work done if I was on this military team. I would be way too busy. It's like, we got a new mission, huh? Uh, sure, I'll go on the new mission, but it's just to be in this group, you know what I'm saying? But my fantasies aside, um, the movie opens up, of course, with a scene in a medical facility where you see these really cool. I don't think there's ever been anything that looks as cool as the T virus. You know, I mean, when the little DNA swirl thing. But you open up in the facility with the T virus being messed with by someone is putting it in a case. Blue is the virus, green is the cure. So, and then they throw the virus and it breaks open and chaos ensues, which leads us to, you know, everything beginning. People start changing. The facility goes on lockdown. You don't know anything about it at this time, but the facility goes on lockdown. Everybody's being locked in. People are being gassed. Um, you don't really know what's going on, but it sure is exciting. So the first thing that really gets you is the elevator scene where the girl is trying to climb out, and then you know, and off with her head, as Marie Antoinette would say, and that really sets the tone of the movie. Um, you're introduced, of course, to a lot of the cast at this point because it then switches to Milla in the bathroom in a tub, and well, that's Alice, of course. So Alice is in the bathtub waking up. She doesn't know who she is, what she is, anything of that nature, and she is walking through the house and immediately saved by this guy whose name is Matt, and Matt is trying to help her, and at the same time then you have all these black suits come in and take them. So nobody knows really what's going on, and they reveal themselves, and you're introduced to the special ops team. You have, you know, Rain, who's played by Michelle Rodriguez. You have Matt and Spence, and well, Spence is in the train when they find him, but so I don't know who he is at first. But you're introduced to the combat team, AJ, and oh gosh, he's really good. I can't think of his name though. The other guy, I just watched it 10 minutes ago. Finished it 10 minutes ago. But Kaplan, is that his name? Kaplan, is that it? But he's real cool too. So I mean, that's what I mean. There isn't anybody I disliked in this, which is kind of unusual. Usually in a horror movie, you've got you know, the brainy, the nerd, the geek, the jock, the asshole, people that you don't like, people that you do. But I actually liked everybody in the cast. There wasn't any character that I was like, oh, you know, I hope they die or something like that. So that was kind of cool. It was kind of interesting that there isn't any um, bad people in there at the beginning, of course, you know. So you're introduced to all of them, and they begin to let Milla know, or let Alice know, kind of what's going on. Something has happened down here. They explain Raccoon City. We're introduced to that. We're introduced to the hive as they get into the train and go down. Because she is completely clueless. She has been sprayed with nerve gas, has no idea what's going on. So she is kind of clueless, and they're kind of filling her in. They explain Raccoon City, they explain the hive, they explain the operation that was going on down there. She's completely amnesiac, so an amnesiac, you get it. She can't remember shit. So she's going through there, and he's explaining everything to them about the hive being a pharmaceutical company like we know today, Big Pharma. But of course, they're making most of their money from illegal experiments, genetic experiments, and military applications, blah, blah. Yeah, we know all that. It's a little bit too close to real life, in my opinion, but there you go. So, as you learn all of this, we're also introduced to the Red Queen. Now, the Red Queen is the AI computer that takes care of this place, who has been ordered to lock down the facility in the case of a viral breach, which has occurred. So they're down there trying to figure out what's going on. And Milla, of course, is still amnesiac, so she doesn't, know what's going on, but she's going along. And you, of course, had picked up Spence in the subway. She starts having little flashes of who this is, this guy Spence. And that leads to probably the next big scene, which to me, I don't know if you've ever seen Cube, the horror movie Cube, where we lead to the hallway scene. And the hallway scene has always reminded me so much of Cube because of the slice and dice lasers. And that is some gross shit. It grossed me out in Cube, and it grossed me out in this. And that was an exceptionally good scene, filmed very well, and really makes me look that way. TV is right there, or my monitor is right there. I look that way during that scene a lot. So, Alice is... They're, of course, meeting all the zombies. So there's a lot about... I'm skipping over that, of course, because who hasn't... if you haven't seen it, you're just dancing along with me right now. But, yeah, they're meeting all of these zombies. They're having all of these cool action sequences, a lot of which is kind of jarring Alice's memory as to, what's going on. Because, and who she is. Probably from the adrenaline and stuff like that is kind of like making the nerve gas wear off, and she is remembering a lot of what's going on. And she starts having, like, really these weird things about Spence. And she also starts seeing little visions of her in a garden where she is talking to someone about helping them get the virus. So, in the meantime, in one of the scenes, which, Rain, Michelle Rodriguez, gets bit on the hand. And I'm like, oh shit, because that's really the only thing I don't like about this movie is I did not want Rain to get bit or to go down. I know a lot of people got it. Well, everybody, actually, if you want to get to the end. But that was heartbreaking. I really didn't want... I love Michelle Rodriguez, and I really didn't want to see her get infected. But that's the way the movie goes. There's nothing you can do about it. So she starts kind of remembering Spence. She starts realizing that she was up to something. She wasn't really sure what, but it starts really coming back to her at this point. And that is when we find out, as Spence finds out, because he had been knocked out too. And as she finds out, because it's all coming back to them now, Matt's sister, the one that got, she was trying to get the virus out. He was like an investigative journalist, like he knew what was going on. And he was going to use his sister, who could, get into the facility and be a worker, as a way to get the story out of what this megacorp had been doing. And Milla was her contact. Alice was her contact. she was going to help her escape, but then this happened. Now, we also find out at that moment that it was Spence, right? Spence had been spying on Alice, and he saw her making this arrangement, and instead he wanted to do it for the money, to get the T-virus out and, make money off of it. Since they were fixing to bring the house down anyway, in his opinion, he was going to one-up them and get the virus out and sell it. So everything was going sideways, and he knew this was his opportunity to get him out. So he had rigged this whole thing. You find out that that person at the beginning of the movie who was taking the vials and who released this virus was Spence. So shit goes down. He manages to get out, from the room that they were all stuck in. Michelle, Rain, is obviously going over with the infection, and he leaves them there to die. But the Red Queen has a different idea, and she tells them, she shows them on the monitor that there is the big boy, the liquor. That's why I call him the liquor. And he is out there, and she had basically saved him in case they got away. She could use him to take them out. But Spence is almost out of the way, out of the facility, and he has to stop to try to take some of the vaccine, at which point we're introduced to the big bad, the liquor, who attacks him. And because it's got fresh DNA, it transforms into an even bigger beast. And Kaplan turns out to be alive. We thought he was dead. So that was a cool little moment in which, oh shit, he's alive. That was cool. So they all do manage to get, because of what had went on. But Kaplan had fried the Red Queen, and that's how they all got out. Now they know Spencer has been killed by the mutant, and they're headed for the train. So they get to the train, they get the vaccine case and stuff like that, and you get to hear Milla do the "give that guy back, the I miss you already" line, and kill him, Spence, who has now reanimated. And they're on the train and they're getting out, and you're like, yippee-yay, yippee-ki-yay, everything's cool. But unfortunately, and that's what I said, the only part that I did not like about the movie is that, and of course I left out all those huge, cool action scenes. We know all about that. I'll talk about that in a minute. But Michelle, Rain, the Red Queen was correct. Rain, it's too late for Rain. Now, it may not have been too late for Kaplan, but it was too late for Rain. And she did turn, and Matt had to shoot her. And Kaplan, he was left alive for nothing because the big creature got him, and in the process scratched Matt across the shoulder and arm, upper arm. So we've lost Rain now. Kaplan is gone. Everybody else is dead. There's nobody left but Alice and Matt. They do manage to get out, and then they get back up to her house, where she's about to treat him with the antivirus. Now, it had been such a short time since he had been scratched that, I think it probably would have worked and he would have been saved if she could have got it into him. But right as she's trying to get it into him, now we have a white coat team instead of the black coat team at the beginning. It's kind of funny. The black, the ones dressed in black in this movie were the good guys. The ones dressed in white are the bad guys. So they break in and they kidnap her. And they kidnap Matt and tell us something about, I want him in the Nemesis Project because he's beginning to mutate. So that leads up to part 2, as you know. Or maybe not. If you don't, you should. Because having not watched this franchise is a no. Hell no. So Milla wakes up. And notice I will always interchange their character names and their real names. I don't know. It's just the way I am. But so Alice wakes up and she is, in the facility with her head shaved, hooked up to all kind of stuff, no telling what's been done to her. But there's nobody around, and she manages to get out. That scene really reminded me of 28 Days Later when the boy woke up in the hospital room. That movie really reminded me of that scene, the atmosphere, the whole little sequence there of her getting up and getting out of the hospital room really reminded me of 28 Days Later. Because when she got outside the door, there is chaos. Everything is like there's nobody. Empty vehicles. You see a newspaper. The dead walk. Stuff like that. So we're now set up for the next movie, and I love it. It's an hour and 40 minutes of sheer joy to me. Now, I am a huge Resident Evil game fan. I have every one of the named games, Resident Evil 1 through 4. I've got all the remasters too, Resident Zero, um, the H2, the X2. Um, I have the remakes of 1, 2, and 3 that they've put out now. I didn't really care for a Resident Evil 7. I liked it, I played it, I finished it, it was fun. But it's different, because they changed it to first person. And I heard that's what the new one Village is, and I haven't messed with it. Um, so I can't 100% say whether it's first person or not. But if it is, I probably won't get it. I don't know. Like I said, I liked Resident Evil 7, um, but it was just really different to me because I like Resident Evil in third person over the shoulder. That's my preferred. I got 2,000 games on Steam. I have lots and lots of FPSs. I do like FPSs, but not as much as third person, especially if the franchise was already in third person. So I liked Resident Evil 7, but not as much as the others. I liked Revelations. I liked them all. I like all the Resident Evil games. I especially like the remasters. 0, 1, 2, and 3 that they've put out. I really like them. I like everything. So I'm a Resident Evil fanatic, and that's the reason why I have them all. I might change all these in for DVD, Blu-rays, since this is kind of special enough for me to have a Blu-ray. I only really replace DVDs with Blu-rays if they're like really special, like the Alien and Predator and stuff like that I have replaced with Blu-ray. I might replace the Resident Evil with them. I don't know. But that was Resident Evil 2002, Milla Jovovich, Michelle Rodriguez, and I like to give them credit because they're my favorites, and why they're not listed at the top, I don't know. James Purefoy as Spence and Eric Mabius as Matt. Why they're not listed at the top, and Ryan McCluskey is, because I'm not saying anything bad about Ryan McCluskey, but who are you in the movie? To be up there on the top list with stars. And I'm like, Matt and Spence have a lot more, whatever. But so I opened up different pages to make sure that they get their thing, because they belong top billing, in my opinion, along with Milla and Michelle. So that's my little celebration and discussion of Resident Evil. I told you the story. There is a great deal of action scenes that I loved in this film. I loved when they were trying to get across the pipes, and that's when Kaplan, I could be wrong. Is that his name? Okay, let me just find out. I don't want to keep calling somebody something and it's not theirs. It kind of makes, it's a little rude. Kaplan, I was correct. I was correct about JD too. Pretty motherfucker. But I hated when he got killed too, when he got pulled, when they finally got that door open and he got pulled in there. That pissed me off. I hate when you kill pretty people. I mean, I know horror movies, that's the whole basis of horror movies. Pretty people in peril. PPIP. That's the formula for a horror movie. Pretty people in peril. But still, I hate when you kill, it's like, come on. What a waste. So I hate seeing pretty people die, and yet I love horror movies where that's the whole point of horror movies, is killing pretty people. Urban legend, hello. I Know What You Did Last Summer, Scream. It's all pretty people in peril. Usually in a camp or a high school or a college somewhere, but I digress. So yeah, like I said, I love the pipe scene where they're trying to get across the pipe and Kaplan gets bitten and stays behind, and that scene where where JD gets pulled into the into the other room and eaten, or bitten. That was irritating. I hated that Spence turned out to be an asshole, but then again, you got to have an asshole, So, but he's still pretty to look at. Just an asshole. Milla, of course, looks beautiful. Michelle is her usual beautiful, and like I said earlier, I'm not even sure if you can call that typical. Michelle Rodriguez has this look on her face, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody have such a particular unique look except for maybe B. Arthur and Maud, and in the Golden Girls as well. Just nobody could look as mean and pissed off as B. Arthur and the Golden Girls or Maud, especially Maud. And Michelle Rodriguez is like that. Michelle's just always, she's always looking like, she's always ready to beat the fuck out of somebody. And you can see it on her face. And B. Arthur, it's like I'm talking about a comedy actress, but B. Arthur, she just always too. If you ever seen Maud or the Golden Girls, B. Arthur, she too had that look. It's like them two are the only ones that I've ever seen that had this perfect look of pissed off, but not about anything in particular. Just pissed off as a normal state of being, ready to kick your ass at the slightest moment, And Michelle Rodriguez is perfect with that. She's got the same look. I don't think I've ever seen that look since B. Arthur, except Michelle Rodriguez. And I love that about her. But yes, that is my celebration, discussion, review. Tell me what you think about Resident Evil. You like the series? We'll be going through all of them. And I am here now talking about it, and we'll be back with the next one talking about it soon. And now that I've got this fancy new mic and all of this stuff, I've been doing my music again, so I am all metal-headed out and have been doing my top 10 Nightwish. If you are into a Nightwish, you can go and watch my top 10 as I slowly upload them. If not, just continue to enjoy Scream with me. And yeah, so 5 more to go. And I love Resident Evil. I am going to really enjoy. As you can tell, I'm enjoying talking about stuff I love, and I love Resident Evil. So we will be back next time. Love you, miss you. Bye. Take care of yourself and keep screaming when appropriate.